my Lord Chief Justice and Judge of the Supreme Court, I think one document we should have really highlighted right from the start, but what we didn't do, was the affidavit, my Lord, by the third respondent. And I would just like, very briefly, my Lord, just to refer you to paragraph 7. So that gives you the best image, and it's a pretty image. Have you given everybody? It's the best, but so that, my Lord, it gives you an image of how sweeping the victory of both the third respondent, his party was in all the 6 elections. And my Lord, if you look at paragraph 7, you can see page 2, everything red belongs to the third respondent. If you turn the next page, my learned friend has shown you the video, but this one provides a better picture so that you can really see how sweeping it is. If you look at page 3, my Lord, it is the governors. Then you can see the Senate again in red at page 4. Then you can see women representative. It is slightly even more when you come to women in time of how Jubilee was women-friendly. And then at page 6, my Lord, is the National Assembly, my Lord. So, my Lord, I think that's the point my learned friend emphasized, that there was nothing ordinary. It was not a case where the respondent wins the presidential election and he has 10 members of parliament. No. I mean, my Lord, Jubilee has the largest number of a single party since multi-party democracy was introduced in 1992. Its victory was that sweeping. My Lord, there is an issue raised by the petitioner in relation to Section 83 of the Election Act, the one that talks about non-compliance with the law, which says, my Lord, that no election shall be declared void by any reason of non-compliance with any written law, as long as that non-compliance, as long as the election was conducted in accordance with the principles laid down in the Constitution. And I'm emphasizing the principles laid down in the Constitution. My Lord, Chief Justice, it's not in dispute that when it comes to a presidential election, the constitutional regime that regulates a presidential election is very distinct and defined in the Constitution. And my learned friend rightly emphasized that point. And my Lord, the constitutional regime for how a presidential election is conducted is found in Article 138. So, my Lord, the principles referred to in Section 83 of the Election Acts are those principles that are captured in Article 138. And what are those? There are 4 principles, my Lord. 1, all registered voters must have an opportunity to vote, or all those who are entitled to vote. Secondly, my Lord, is that secret ballot. The election must be secret ballot. That's the principle. For example, if the election was Mololongo, or if there were law instead of a secret ballot, it will be in breach of the constitutional principles. The third one, my Lord, is that the votes must be counted in the polling stations, and IEBC shall tally and verify and count the result and declare. And lastly, the candidate shall be elected president when he wins 50+1. Those are the constitutional principles, my Lord, that Section 83 envisage or holds to in a presidential election. My Lord, the other point is, and I think my learned friends for IEBC captured it very well, is that this allegation of disparity between the presidential election, in other words, more people voted for the president than other candidates. And my lords and my lady, I will just very briefly draw your kind attention to the affidavit of Winnie Guchu. And my lord, if you look at page 36 or paragraph 88 of that affidavit, we analyze 94 constituencies where other positions other than the president got the highest vote. And even in Kiambu itself, in several constituencies, the voters gave more votes to the women representative than the president himself. And we have given the list in paragraph 88. Even in my learned friend's constituency, he got more votes. The governor was the most competitive seat. So it depends from one region to another. There are certain places, for example, where if you look at that page 36, Kibwezi East, the senator was the most competitive. If you look at Voi, the senator was the most competitive. If you look at Molo, the parliamentary seat was the most competitive. If you look at Rongo, the governor was the most competitive. So, my lord, as they say, all politics is local. That is what determined which was the most competitive. Lastly, but not the least, if you look at Starehe, the woman representative was the most competitive seat in that election.
Mr. Ahmednassir, if I understand the argument well, is that the votes cast, the total votes cast for the president were more than those cast for the governors, for example, for the women representative, for example. It's not a question of a president getting more than the governor or what?
We have done the total, my lord. Yes. But, and I think IEPC, Mr. Somane, explained it very well. But even when you do that, it's not necessarily true, or the difference was very insignificant. My learned friend will explain that quickly. But my lord, finally, it's my submission, my lord, that the petitioners have not discharged the burden of proof. That burden, my lord, because it has not been discharged, at no point during this trial did that burden shift to the third respondent. But my lord, that notwithstanding, and out of abundant caution, that suspender and belt approach, my learned friend has taken you through each and every allegation they have made, not to prove, but to show, my lord, that all those allegations were false, whether it's in relation to ungazetted polling station, whether it is in relation to the disparity between the presidential and electoral offenses, and, my lord, any other averments that's contained in the petition. So, my lords, it's the prayer of the third respondent that in light of the failure on the part of the petitioners to discharge the burden of proof, this petition should be dismissed with cost. And I pray that it be satisfied for two counsel.